Hello everybody, my name is Rick Williams. Many of you know me by the name of Smilin' Rick, and today I thought I would show you how I make my buttermilk biscuits. Nothing tastes better than to have fresh baked buttermilk biscuits for breakfast, whether you serve it with honey, jelly, or my favorite, bacon. I want to also take this opportunity to thank my friend Dennis, who showed me how to make these biscuits. Without his help, I don't think they would have turned out as good as they do. So why don't we get started and get to baking. Okay, let's get started by reviewing the utensils and the ingredients that's needed to make these buttermilk biscuits. First off, I'm going to be using a number 6 Wagner Sydney O skillet. I like, as always, cooking in cast iron is the best if possible. I have a pastry cutter here that I will use to cut in the bacon grease into the flour. We have a 1/4 cup of bacon grease. We have a teaspoon of sugar, and this is optional, but I always find that the teaspoon of sugar gives it a nice flavor. We have 2/3 cup of fresh buttermilk. From the store, that is. 2 cups of self-rising flour. And so that's basically it, and let's get started. The first thing you want to do is you want to cut the bacon grease into the flour. Now you can also use vegetable shortening if you want to use that. You can also use butter. I have used both, and I've also used a combination of both half butter and half vegetable shortening. But after experimenting on with different ingredients, I find that I like the bacon grease the best. So what you want to do is you want to take the pastry cutter and start cutting the bacon grease into the flour. Now you want to make sure that this bacon grease is cold so that it will act like a solid, and that way it will turn out a lot better. Sometimes you have to scrape the pastry cutter, but you want to incorporate the grease into the flour until you get kind of a coarse consistency, because that's important, because you want those particles of grease to be incorporated throughout the flour so that it will give you that flakiness that we're all looking for when it comes to making buttermilk biscuits. So we've done that. As you can see, you can see it's a little bit of coarseness there, and it looks good. Next thing I do is I add the sugar, and again I mentioned that this is optional. You don't have to add the sugar, but I find that it does give some more, a better taste to it, particularly the kind of taste that I like. So we've got that all incorporated in there. The next thing we want to do is pour in the buttermilk biscuit. Again, this is 2/3 cup of buttermilk. You pour that in to the flour. Some like to use their hands and go ahead and get into it. I like to start off with a little bit with a spoon first, and I just sort of start stirring the buttermilk and gradually bring in the flour from the edges. You want to make sure that you don't overwork the dough. So you want to handle it as little as possible, but you do want to try to get everything incorporated. When it gets to this point, that's when I like to start trying to use my hands. That way I can get some idea of the consistency. Sometimes you may have to add more buttermilk, sometimes you may not. You may have to add more flour. So we're going to continue to work the dough. Alright, looks like I've got everything incorporated real good. You want, as you can see, you want a fairly moist dough ball. The next thing I do is I want to turn it out onto the surface. So I will take and spread some flour on my countertop here. Take the dough ball, and what I do, instead of rolling it out flat to make and cut it out with a cutter, I like to roll it into a log that's about 2 to 3 inches in diameter, and it's about 6 inches in length. And what I do next is then I take a knife and I cut this into 6 pieces. So I cut it in half, I cut it in there, and I cut it there, come back over to the other end, cut it there, and then cut it there. Then the next thing I do is I take a piece of the dough and I kind of form it into a biscuit. And then from there I do that and I place it into the skillet. So we'll take another. See, alright, there we go. I've patted out the biscuits and I've put them in the skillet. Make 6 biscuits. Now you can make them a little bit smaller and get more out of it if you want to, but I find that 6 is the optimal number for this particular recipe. So now all we have to do is wait for the oven to preheat to 450 degrees, and we'll pop it in the oven for 15 minutes or so until the top of the biscuits start to turn golden brown. Alright, the oven has preheated, so at 450 degrees, so let's go ahead and put these biscuits in to cook. I'm going to set the kitchen timer to 15 minutes, and we're going to wait for the biscuits to bake. Alright, the biscuits are in the oven baking. We've got a little bit of time before they're done, and I want to take this opportunity to talk to you about a Facebook group that I'm a member of. The name of the group is called Cast Iron Cooking, and it's a wonderful group made up of over 11,000 members. It's a place to go for people that love to use and cook with cast iron cookware, to get together, share recipes, show examples of their different kinds of cookware that they have, and also show some of the treasures they find when they go out on the hunt for cast iron cookware. So I invite you to come and check us out, join this growing group, and learn even more on how to take full advantage of your cast iron cookware. Alright, there we go. The timer's going off. It's been 15 minutes. Biscuits should be done. We open it up. Bring them out. Oh, they look good. They're just now starting to turn a little bit of golden brown. Alright, let's fix us one of these biscuits to eat now. Get us a plate there. Pull out a biscuit. Cut it in half. Oh, don't that look good? Looks like it's baked perfectly. We'll take us some butter. Put on each side. Let that kind of melt in to the biscuit a little bit. And then my favorite, some locally made honey that I got at the farmer's market. And we'll just kind of drizzle the biscuit with the honey. And there you have it, my favorite homemade buttermilk biscuits. Thanks again for listening to this and watching this video, and we'll see you on the Facebook page.